Hey guys, Sebastian here from Walgreens Vintage. Welcome to our gallery. In today's video, we'll be doing a comparison between the Gibson Custom Shop and the USA line. I won't be talking about the differences between these two guitars, who do we think they're targeted to, and really, well, how they compare. So let's dive in. First of all, talking about the USA line, these guitars are made really well, and well, in particular, this Les Paul Standard 1960s model is a killer Les Paul. There's a reason why it says Standard on the headstock, and it's not just an ode to the golden era of Gibson, but when Gibson says they're standard, they really mean it. This is supposed to be their flagship, and is the guitars that they expect to see the most out in the wild, and it's a killer guitar. So what I mean by 1960 is that the specs on these guitars are elaborated after a 1960 Les Paul. They also offer a 50s model, which has, the specs of a 1950s Les Paul. I know this sounds very generalized. What do I mean by 50s or 60s? Well, you have a very skinny neck, reflector top knobs, you have Grover tuners. This one also has 61Rs and 61T pickups, which are slightly higher in output. And when you look at the 50s Standard, it has a much thicker neck, which Bursbuckers 1 and 2 pickups, your classic tulip tuners, and just your regular golden top knobs. These are subtle differences that might make a difference for you, but they kind of like represent the main specs from those two guitars. I would say mainly is whether you want a guitar with a thinner neck or a fatter neck, and with hotter or lower output pickups. Other than that, I would say that it's a killer instrument that feels really good in the hands, and it's made here in the USA. It sounds fantastic, and it's the Les Paul Standard. If you heard all of that and still want more, well, the Gibson Custom Shop does just that. This right here, it's a 1958 reissue. And with that, again, they really go above and beyond to make sure that this feels, sounds, and performs like a vintage Les Paul, which if you know about them, you know that they're crazy instruments that are super rare, hard to find, and they go for quite a bit of money. So this 58 Les Paul takes those generalized specs from the standard USA series, and they really make it specific to 1958. For example, the neck profile of this guitar has been scanned after an original 1958 Les Paul. The carving of the top, the finish, the color of the burst, the amount of options and specific details that go into making one of these guitars is really amazing. The finish, for example, it's called VOS, and what they do with it is that they age it so that it feels a bit more like an old guitar. For example, compared to the USA Standard, it still has that really nice natural cellulose that is going to age really well. However, compared to the Custom Shop, it feels much more plasticized and shiny. So I feel like the fact that the Custom Shop already comes broken down a bit more just makes it feel like a guitar that has been around the block, which I personally like. You also have a difference, for example, in the pickups. These are custom bucker pickups, which basically emulate PAFs. These custom buckers come unpotted, and they have a really nice open sound that is not too hot, and it really picks up in your dynamics. I feel like the 1960 model is a bit more compressed, and it's quicker to anger in the sense that it distorts a bit more because it just has more output. Also in the electronics, this one has paper and oil Bumblebee Reissue capacitors, where that one has orange drop caps. Nothing wrong with that, it's just that this is, again, it's a lot more historically accurate for Gibson standards compared to what they had back then. And this, again, this is just the first stages of the Custom Shop. They offer so much more, so many different finishes available, so many other years. I'm talking about 1960, 1959, 1957, 56, so again, they're very specific in that sense. And they also take those models up a notch with the Murphy Lab line, that they already come aged, to feel like a guitar that has been, I'm not talking like VOS aged, I'm talking like relic aged. So they feel like a true vintage guitar. So I would say that those are the main two differences between these two guitars. The price also sees that reflected. This one is almost twice the price as that. But again, as you can see, there's so much more labor and R&D into one of these instruments. I've been personally to both factories, the Nashville USA and the Custom Shop, and I would say the Custom Shop feels more like an artisanal workshop where there's a lot more workers that do very specific tasks that involve, you know, those little details that I was mentioning. And these are the things that I'm not going over, because, like, for example, the glue that they use for it, the chemical composition of the plastics, the materials that they use for the metal, and other things that, again, are very specific. So I feel like if you care about those details, definitely look at the custom shop. These guitars are just fantastic. I think they're some of the best Gibsons ever made, you know, aside from their golden era. But there's nothing wrong for just getting a Gibson USA. If you don't care about any of that, this guitar will suit you just well, and you'll save a few bucks in the meantime. You know, they both sound fantastic, they play really well, and they're killer instruments. I would be really happy to play one or the other. Again, it's just a matter of whether you want the extra mile of attention to detail and historically accurate specs. With that said, let's jump to some playing. I'll be running these two guitars into this Marshall 1974X combo, which just sounds amazing. It's 18 watts, one single greenback H speaker, and once you dime it, it's just glorious. So yeah, let's go ahead and play for a bit so you guys can hear it. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. If you want to pick up any of this gear, the links will be down below in the description. If you guys want to know more about us, visit wildgracevintage.com, where you'll see some of the amazing things that we have in stock. Vintage guitars, newer guitars as well, coffee, watches, and cars. And talking about cars, if you guys like cars, we also have a channel where we make videos about our cars. Definitely check it out. I'll link it down below as well. If you guys want to support this video, give us a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and follow us on Instagram for more content like this. My name is Sebastian. Until next time.